very happy to be talking to Ashley Longshore today. Normally I introduce the people I'm chatting with, but today I'm going to let one of Ashley's fans do it. I came across this quote on Tumblr from a 19-year-old male fan from New Orleans, and here's what he wrote. Ashley Longshore, look her up. My friend and I met her yesterday. She's my new best friend, and she's an artist, and she didn't go to art school, and she makes more dollars than your parents. She's got a studio right on Magazine Street, and she wears bunny ears. Best part, she's got an arrowhead ring the size of my head. So,
I remember that.
do you?
I do remember that.
Well, I don't even know what an arrowhead ring is, but it just, I thought it really sort of summed you up, the whole thing.
I'm a firm believer in go big or go home, and I tend to wear huge, ginormous rings on all my fingers, and actually to the point that I told my sister, I said, "Oh, my wrist hurts from painting so much," and she said, "That is not from painting; that's from all the jewelry you wear."
Takes the jewelry off.
I must have been a gypsy in another life.
Okay. Okay, well, let's dive in at the deep end. Why do you think that art exists, Ashley?
Why does art exist? There isn't a world where art couldn't exist. I mean, when we made the leap from being an Australopithecus into being a human being, we instantly, used our brains in a different way than animals did. And I think that's in expressing our own individuality in the world that we're living in. So, even if you look at, primates and how they establish themselves in their own environments, the way human beings have done that is by defining ourselves through our cars, our houses, our individual expression. So I think even people that think that they're not artistic, everybody has something artistic about them, 100%.
Yeah.
We have to have it or we would go crazy. We have to define ourselves in some way. So even if that just means doodling while you're on a conference call in your cubicle, everyone has art. We have to have art.
Yeah, because it's a funny thing, isn't it? Like, it's not practical. It's not obviously practical when you think of all the other things we've invented, but yet we've been doing it forever, really.
We've been doing it forever. I mean, look at those little fertility statues and look at Egyptian art. Look at, whether people were creating art because it was for a god that they believed in, or if it was a drawing of a buffalo on a cave wall because that's what they were hunting because they needed it to survive. And it just so happened that they went out and saw the biggest buffalo they'd ever seen in their life to the point that they needed to draw it around the campfire to show everyone that wasn't there how grand this buffalo was. How what are they doing? They're using their mind and their creativity to express something great that they believe in. That's what's so awesome. That's what I tell a lot of these young artists that contact me. Oh, I've never been to art school. You don't have to. It doesn't matter whether you know exactly how to express what you're seeing in your mind. You just do it. Thereby, you have this amazing individual expression that people can respond to or not. But it is a footprint in our history. It's important.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, good. I'm glad we're on the same page, Don.
Now, you're very commercially successful. When you have the idea or the feeling for a new painting, when that starts to come up for you, how influenced are you by whether you think it's going to sell or not? For example, like your art is very bright, it's very colourful, it's very cheerful. If something starts to come up for you and you want to paint it but it's very dark, but you know that it mightn't sell, do you paint it anyway and put it in the attic, or do you go ahead and just paint it and let the market decide?
No. I mean, first of all, I'm not really a dark person, but what I would say is I definitely have different collections of work that I paint. I'm inspired by Trophy Wives and American Greed. And I can tell you that when I'm painting a painting that says, of $100 bills that say how to win friends and secure Major Poontang, I can tell you that a lot of my interior designers are going to be reticent to put something like that in a home. Now, the beautiful thing is that I've marketed myself to lots of hedge fund guys, billionaires, and they are instantly drawn to that sort of thing.
Really?
Do I think about am I going to sell it or not? No. Do I think of who my market is when I have an idea and it comes out? I say, oh, this is for my hedge fund guys, or this is for my trophy wives, or this is for my interior designers. I think when you are an artist and you realize you can take your creativity and then also mold it into business opportunities that are marketable across a wide range of buyers, you don't worry about selling it or not. You worry more about the group that you're going to market and target to. And they always sell eventually. I mean, art is about falling in love. So it's a numbers game. The more people I can get to see my art, the bigger my odds are that I'm going to sell it.
Right. You're just talking about your collectors there. A lot of them are very wealthy people, the hedgies and the billionaires, as you call them. There's a common idea that deep down wealthy people aren't really happy. Have you found that to be true?
Oh, my God. I have to tell you, I find that a lot of my wealthy clients who have made their own money tend to be more joyous people, maybe, than some of my clientele who has inherited family money.
Okay.
And maybe my views are skewed because, for me, the greatest gift my father ever gave me was for me to make my own money, to be able to take care of myself, to figure out this art business and how to sell something. Listen, I mean, I don't think that money makes you happy, but I also have never seen anybody standing on the side of the road begging with a sign that said, "We'll work for money," with a smile on their face. So, I mean, we got to have something. You got to be able to pay your bills. I mean, and it's all relative. I mean, there was a point in my career where I thought having $1,000 in the bank made me rich. And so, it's a cycle. What is rich? Somebody that has $100 million thinks having $1 million is poor.
Yeah.
It's shit. Who knows?
Okay.
I know they're happy when they're buying art, and all I know is they always got a smile across their face, and I do too when I get their credit card, and that's what matters at the end. They're happy, and I'm happy,
Yeah. Who are your art heroes?
My art heroes are, I'm drawn to lots of artists. I loved Alice Neal so much. I love Elizabeth Payton. I love Vanessa Beecroft. I think she's an amazing performance artist. I love Francesco Clemente. I love Picasso. I think it's great. I love Jeff Koons. What I'm really drawn to right now with the shift in the art world, with all this technology that we have, are artists like myself who have the balls to self-represent and to eliminate galleries and to keep 100% of their profit margins. I respect artists that see themselves as not only creative beings, but also their worth financially, in that them being able to use all these free technological resources to put themselves out there and keep their money, not giving up 50%. I respect artists that have the balls to do that.
Right. Yeah, because a lot of artists, they sell their work for a couple of $100 at most in coffee shops or restaurants or at art markets, and they're usually delighted to sell anything. Do you think that they're selling themselves short, and that's like our modern day version of the notion of the starving artist?
Yes, I do. I think these artists, first of all, need to understand that there's a new business model because of technology, because of social media, because of the way people are finding information. People are no longer dependent on gallery walks. I mean, there was a time, I'm, in my late 30s, when the only way people could see art 15, 20 years ago was to go to gallery openings.
Yeah.
There was no way to go out and source artists unless you were traveling all over the world. Now you can get on social media, you can get on the internet, you can Google, articles, you can find all these resources to go find the people that you love. What I would pray and what I try to coach my buyers is, if you love an artist, go directly to the artist.
Yeah.
Don't go to these galleries. Do you know that galleries take 50%? Do you know that some galleries take 60%?
Yeah, it's outrageous.
This to me, galleries are dinosaurs. I also try to tell artists, if you don't want to do all this marketing, you have to negotiate with these galleries with some business sense. Meaning, if you're going to take 50% from me, How are you promoting my work? How are you promoting me? How are you advertising my name? How are you getting my name out there? Because, if there's a press and PR element and they're paying to keep the lights on, and then they're also taking 50%, there has to be some balance there. It can't just be you're taking 10 pieces of my inventory and I'm sitting there in a studio hoping to God that some gallery is selling the work. That is an antiquated sales model.
Yeah.
That is not how the art world should work any fucking more.
Did you always think like that, or have you kind of grown into that perspective? Like, did you always have your eye on the sort of more lucrative markets and think in terms of markets and that kind of thing?
Yes. And I'll tell you why. Because in the beginning of my career, I had galleries telling me that I wasn't marketable. So part of my whole thing right now is it's not just revenge, but it's a matter of survival. In that I'm an American woman. I've got loads of opportunity. My daddy didn't write me a check. I didn't have shit. I did all of this on my own, and I figured it out, and I utilized all of my resources so that I could build a good foundation for my business. I kept in touch with all of my collectors. I started making, email constant contact lists years and years and years ago, because I knew the best buyer I have is already a buyer, and if I haven't sold anything, I can email people that already love my work. It was a matter of necessity. I'm not one of those people, and successful people, artists included, are not the kind of people just to sit back and hope. Nobody's going to knock on your door. But if you use things like Instagram, if you use things like Facebook, YouTube, you put it out into the world, and don't be scared now. Put it out there. Don't be scared now. You will get something back from it. You will.
Okay, brilliant. I know you're a big fan of Frida Kahlo. Now, as you know, Frida had a very hard life with, the medical stuff and the relationship stuff. And I think if Frida was alive now and she had an Instagram account, I think it would be pretty dark, right? You, on the other hand, you look like you're having a ball. And, if I wanted to cheer myself up, I think I would just go and look at your Instagram feed because it's so uplifting. So do you think the suffering artist, that kind of notion, do you think that's just another version of the starving artist kind of model?
So I think, as much as people are drawn to the dark, as much as being in that dark place, it is a very strong place to draw inspiration from. It is. I think because that pain that you feel is something that you can't necessarily describe with words. And so you turn to some other art form, whether it's being a chef and beating the shit out of some eggs, or being a sculptor or a painter, but I also think too that place of happiness and humor and perversion and fun and mischievousness also captures a side of our youth, and a side that people are also craving very much. I mean, I think this is what they mean when they say art is subjective, and buyers are very subjective. But, like for me in my own Instagram, I may be having a bad morning and I'll post something to cheer myself up.
Right.
I love my feed. I also feel that the world is in such a state right now that I'm just craving humor. I'm craving things that make me belly laugh. And I just find things that tickle me, and I put them right back out there, and people seem to respond really well to them.
Great. It seems like right from the word go, you've done pretty much the opposite to what you were told to do, what you were told to become, what you could do, what you couldn't do. I mean, there are probably people that you grew up with who are living the life that you were told you were going to live.
Thank God I'm not doing that.
Yeah, because as I see it, your spirit wasn't going to be contained by any of that. And I think everyone has the same kind of spirit inside them, but for many people it's kind of stuck. So let's say someone's listening to this podcast and they're super inspired by you, but they're stuck and they know it and they don't know how to get unstuck. What would you say to them to help them get free?
Great love and great achievement come with great risk. There is no greater high in the world than putting yourself in an uncomfortable position and then absolutely making yourself shocked that you are successful or unsuccessful. I mean, successful people fail more than they succeed. And you cannot be afraid of that failure. The thing that you should be afraid of is laying in a bed, dying when you're old as hell, going, damn it, I never did what I thought I should. I hate myself for not taking the chances that I knew I should have taken. What people need to understand is this is the one life. I say this all the time. This ain't a dress rehearsal. This is the show. And there's no reason in the world why anyone who is not willing to put in the work can't go out there and kick ass at whatever they want to do, especially being an artist, because now with the internet, the world is so small. It's so small. I mean, my Google Analytics blow up all over the world in countries I've never been to because the internet has brought us all together. It is the globalization of everything. All you have to do is take the step to put yourself out there. And the only thing you need to do that is like a phone. It's just a phone. That's your window into the world of opportunity if you're a visual artist.
Yep.
The saddest thing in the world would be to never try. But you cannot be afraid to work. People think I'm just having fun and laughing all the time. I work my ass off. This career is my life. And I don't even know what to do with myself when I'm not painting. It is my joy. It is my release. It is my control. It's my bread and butter. I live, I breathe, and I die by it.
Very good. Do you think art school's worth it or not?
I think it depends on what kind of artist you want to be. I mean, for me, I am much looser in what I'm doing. I think that if someone, dreams to be a surrealist or a realist, or, they want to be this amazing portrait artist with great technique, I mean, somebody has to show you the steps, maybe, or find an artist that you really love and study their work, and then try to. I mean, when I first started painting, I would do Picasso reproductions, and I learned how to like blend color and how to do shapes, and that was a great help. I think art school will certainly make you tough. I have issues with art school because I have all these kids graduating from Parsons and, huge, the Ivy League art schools in the United States. And then they call me and go, hey, how do I do this now? How do I have a career? And I'm thinking, well, let me tell you what, they didn't fucking teach you that. You have a $200,000 art degree and they didn't teach you how to sell it. Yeah. I mean, they're still teaching these kids to go to galleries. I mean, it's just shocking. It's absolutely shocking. Sorry, John.
That's all right.
Clients ringing the doorbell. So I mean, I think that's a personal decision. For me, I right out of the gate just started painting boldly, painting pop, and I didn't want anybody to tell me what I should and should not be painting because I'm hard-headed like that. And I think all artists should do that, because I think it's bullshit to have some art teacher telling you, oh no, I don't like that. Screw that. Like I said before, it's every single painting, every single drawing, every single sculpture is your individual footprint and your own expression of your experience as a human being in this day and time. And that is important, regardless of what you think it looks like or what anybody else thinks.
Yeah. And for what you're saying as well, like there's a lot of online resources available, which sort of the cost of going to art college is almost, I think it's more expensive than becoming a lawyer in America anyway. So they come out with this huge student debt, and as you say, no business skills to actually bring the business debt down or the student debt down. Well, and I think the other thing is too, all of this pedigree and all of this bullshit, which is just pedigree and bullshit.
When Claire's like, oh, where did you go to art school? Where did you get your fine arts degree? What museums have you shown in? What galleries are you in? I feel like somebody needs to re-educate these people about what it really is to be an artist. None of that matters. At the end of the day, what matters is, do you like this image? Do you relate to it? Do you love it enough to hang it on your wall and let it live with you and be a part of your family? That's how I see art. But then there's a whole nother side of the art world where we have investing and, reselling and the Sotheby's and it's fascinating. It's fascinating. And the money flows like water. It flows like water in this business. So, it's like, it's got layers like an onion. That's for sure. It'll make you cry too. The recent trip you were in Jamaica, with
with the school children. Was that you just happened to go and talk to the kids, or did you go there specifically for that?
No, I've spent a lot of time in Westmoreland Parish, and it's such an incredible place to me. It's really a place where I go to unwind, and I love Jamaica. I love Jamaicans. It is a beautiful country, the flowers, the people, the food. And I feel like I'm at a point in my life as an artist where I wanted to meet those kids. I wanted to see their art department. I wanted to see what they were doing, and I wanted to hear what their interests were. And it was fascinating. They were so talented in their work. They loved nature. I mean, everything around them was very representative in their work. I will tell you this that I learned. In Jamaica, they are taught that being an artist is a very lowly thing. They are taught that being solitary and being a painter is something that they should be ashamed of. So I kind of told them otherwise, but that's what their culture teaches them. So, I wouldn't have known that had I not gone to their school. So, that's the kind of thing that they're teaching those kids. It's kind of scary.
Right. So what's next for you? What have you got coming up?
Global fucking domination. I have 2 huge collaborations, and I can't drop any names right now because I've had to sign contracts because there'll be huge press rollouts. But one is with a huge Japanese company, and it will be a global collaboration. The other is with a company based in New York City. It's going to be a very, very high-end, very cool collaboration. I'm also right now working on some of my new trophy wife pieces. I'm constantly traveling and reevaluating my own opinion of status and greed in the United States, which is really very fascinating because we're a country that's very much defined by things, by our pedigree, by what street we live on, what car we drive, what bag we carry, how big our diamond is, and all those things obviously are bullshit. But it's fascinating. It's fascinating to study people in their own environments. And so I'm working on that. I actually just got a big new studio that I'm moving into that I'm very excited about. So I'm
still in New Orleans.
I'm still in New Orleans. I love it down here. It's a city founded by pirates and whores, and you can get in all the trouble you want to get into down here. We've got the movie industry is all over the place. People come down here to celebrate. We have a great tourist flow here, and it's a kick-ass place to be. So
brilliant.
That's what I'm doing.
So last question, and I ask this to everybody. What one thing would you pass on to future generations?
I would like to be one of the artists that really changes the way my industry works. I would like to be one of the artists that empowers these artists, that eliminates the starving artist, that I could help teach these artists how to utilize the magic and the gift that they've been giving to take images from their mind, put them on a canvas or a sculpture, and then to sell them and have that money and to use that money to travel and learn and to continue to put their views and opinions out there. My greatest achievement in my life would be to help artists all over the world do that. I want there to be more rich artists. I love that lawyers and doctors and hedge funds and businessmen and all these people have all this wealth. But I can only imagine how beautiful the world would be if we had all of these creative people that were just being showered with money because the universe loved what they were doing so much. I want to help these artists figure out how to keep that money and repurpose it into being more creative. That would be my greatest legacy.
Well, that's brilliant. That's a lovely vision. And, I think you're well on the way with what you're doing, because what you're doing is very inspiring. I find it inspiring anyway. And I think a lot of
Thank you.
Other artists would.
We should be drinking whiskey right now.
Why?
Why not? Don't say why, John. Say why not.
Oh, no, I thought there was some reason there, like...
He's celebrating that we're artists and that you're doing a podcast and you can put this thing on the internet and anybody in the whole world can hear it.
That's right. And I'm in Ireland and you're in New Orleans, which is great.
Yes.
How can people find out more about you? Where are you on the...
Well, they can go to my website, ashleylongshore.com. They can hop right on my Instagram and go for a wild ride with me. And my handle is at Ashley Longshore Art. They can call me up on the phone if they want. There's a phone number on my website. I've got an artist I have to speak with this afternoon that wants my opinion about something. I mean, I want to make myself as accessible as possible because I think that will make it easier for my greatest achievement to happen. So that's how you can follow me. You can also Google me, damn it. Just Google me.
All right. Well, thanks very much for giving me so much of your time. It's been great talking to you. And as I say, I think you're a great inspiration. So,
thank you, John. My pleasure.
All right. Thanks, Ashley. Bye.
Bye.
I've never felt this good in my entire life. Make me some spaghetti. Yeah, we are the Argyle Pimps. So buy us a drink. We're better than you thought, but not as good as we think. We are the